Visit us for updates and shows at affinityxtra.co.uk.
The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are personal and do not necessarily represent the views of Affinity Xtra.
Yeah, people, this is your boy here, Roger Moore, on Affinity Xtra, debating gospel music like origin. And yeah, there is a show that we're getting into with my colleague here, MisterMarkGee, is Ideologees, and we're here to look at this show actually I learned a lot from, so we're ready to get into this, and we're going to do the favourite part of the year where I see the price of we used to call them fags go up, we used to see the price of alcohol go up, and we used to say as Christians, yeah, thank God, you know what I'm saying, punish the sinners. That's what the budget was to me, bro. So let's chop into it, man. I'm gonna let MisterMarkGee. Sorry, I've just totally hit left side. I ain't warning about that.
And on our YouTube, we're in for a treat, isn't it? We're in for a double because the same day we're releasing this, we also released a reaction to Kemi Badenoch, who's trying to who's vying for the Tory leadership, making comments about Chris Kava. So please go and watch that, because we also have Ideology Xtra, and also look for that.
She wants to be the first black woman conservative leader.
All right, which actually brings on to my first point. Actually brings on to my first point. So Rachel Reeves is the first female Chancellor of the Exchequer, and
that's it there. Yeah.
I guess, yeah. I mean, it is history. The fact that she is the first female to be the Chancellor. Yeah, apparently she's the first female, right? We've had one female we've had actually a few female prime ministers.
Yeah.
We've had Theresa May. We've had
Liz
Truss, and obviously Margaret Thatcher, who was a prolific prime minister. Love her or hate her, she definitely left her mark in British politics. But then as she was saying that, and I was making notes, the thing that I want to ask Roger, and you can also make comments in the comment section, or send us a DM, is this thing about identity politics. I am the first black this, I am the first lady this. I understand there's a necessity of this because of the disparities that our country and our world have endured over time. But will there ever become an opportunity where we don't have to say this? Why I'm just asking as a neutral, and I want to hear your perspective, Roger. Why does this whole perspective of identity have to keep being highlighted? Will there be a time in the past where this will just be a non-topic? Your people, our people, we're all people. And I'm not saying color blindness, or I'm not saying we shouldn't celebrate culture, but this emphasis of, I'm the first this, when are we going to just say, just for the sake of just playing devil's advocate, when will that just stop? And by the way, don't touch that down. We'll get to the budget, but I think this is worth noting. Why are we into all this? I'm the first this, why I'm the first that. I understand the historical disparities, but is a goal to go past that and just say, I got the job. I'm here to do the job. Doesn't matter who I am, where I come from, my race, my religion. I'm here to do a job. Judge me by the job and let me get the job done.
Right, that is like when Christians said via when it's Black Lives Matter, that when we get into heaven, there's God's not going to see color, but the reality of the situation is that on this earth, color does make a difference to results.
But isn't the goal not to see that though?
It's a goal, but it's not where we're at now.
But
we never will be at it.
But are we not okay? Is it okay? Are those who hold the position moving the goalpost? Because the people, the right people will say, well, we're just gonna get past the fact that you're not Roger the black man and I'm not Mark the black man, or I'm not Tony the white man. You're just Roger, you're just Mark, let's just Tony, let's just all get along. And I'm not saying we put our eyes closed and forsake the fact that you're a beautiful black man or someone is a beautiful Asian person, or we should appreciate the beauty of you. I mean, God created us with a purpose, and even the cultures themselves you celebrate. You know, on Jamaica Independence Day, blast that reggae aloud. When there's Kenyan Day, let's jump.
That's fake independence, though. But, you know, that's how another subject.
Okay, but Roger, the point is it the goal to just see each other as human? Right, and I'm not saying we divorce it from not celebrating our identities, but when will we come to a point where we're like, I'm human, you're human, let's get along?
So when we are treated as humans, then we can get there. I think what it is like I said to people, I says, you know what, I hear what you're saying, but what's her name, Liz Trust, she's probably saying to the little girl who's been told you can't achieve this right now. You know what I'm saying? That's not your place.
When did Liz Truss say you will never achieve?
No. But what I'm saying, the power of going. You know, when Obama became prime minister, president. Sorry. It almost, wherever you are in the world, felt like, yo, this is crazy.
Yeah.
It inspired you as a black person. Now you can argue and say, okay, why would you now, 20 years later, keep saying about these different things?
No. Let me ask you a.
Okay, go.
Let me ask you another question.
Go on.
If say 50 years, let's say in 100 years time, over time we've had like say 10 black presidents.
Yeah.
Is it necessary for the 11th one who comes in and say, oh, by the way, I am the 11th black president? When will it just come and just be like, I am Mark, I am the president, I am here to do a job? End of story. When will they come to a point, bro, where it'll be like, bro, I'm here to do a job. Yes, I'm black. Yes, I'm Jew. Yes, I am Muslim. Put less religion to one. Because even this is the same thing with John F. Kennedy. When he was Roman Catholic, the evangelicals were like, are you going to be consulting the Pope? And John F. Kennedy was like, okay, listen, I'll keep it 100. I come from a long line of Catholics, Irish Catholics. I'm a Catholic, but I'm a president of the United States. The Pope will have no say. So let me ask you a direct question. I just want to get into your brain, bro. If we have 30 black presidents, and the 31 comes in, do you still want the 31 to say, I am the 31st black president of the United States and I am making, do we have to do that? When we come to a point where it gets like, bro, I'm glad I got the job, let me go.
You've answered yourself, so not in our lifetime. Not until it becomes the norm, not in time it becomes numerically correct. That it can happen, bro. If we've had more multiple people, 100% it becomes a norm. It's like, the certain societies, after a number of generations, things change and people get treated differently and things change over. I just think that it's not going to happen in my lifetime. You know what I'm saying? Where people won't be utilizing identity as a way of like, I'm the first woman, I'm the first black woman, or the first black man. It's because of just where we at now. Because at the end of the day, in living memory, there was dark times. So for me, it will happen. It potentially can happen if the European communities keep moving the way they're trying to move without any far right totally hit back. It will happen, bro. You're totally right. When you get to the 30th one, it's just like going to the moon, innit? It was an amazing thing in Apollo, and you see after a while, going to the moon became normality. So to the first person who goes up there, the second person, the first woman who went to the moon, is while it becomes normal. So life will just lead to that.
All right, let's segue to the budget, shall we? Yeah. So, I mean, Rachel Reeves did make a comment that, she did say, and it was inspiring. Let me say, she actually said something quite inspiring that, if you're a young girl, you can also do the same in the future. Come on now. So she set a trend. Big up her, though. And I think it's good. I think it's good for the girls to hear that, yes, you can also do it.
Yeah.
And, hey, David Lammy, it's good to tell them, it's good to go to Tottenham, go to the schools and say, also you too can get into the corridors of power and affect the change you want to see. So I feel there's something there. But my thing is, I hope one day that will not have to be a requirement where I have to go to certain disenfranchise places of our society and say, you can do it. That we are all. It's just like, okay, people are people, but not to the point that we forget that I'm black and you're white, or forget culture. I'm not here to say let's not celebrate culture. I'm not that. I don't believe in color blindness, but I also believe that at some point, if I'm having a drink, with my friend who's white, I'm not gonna be emphasizing on, this is my Caucasian friend, or emphasizing my blackness. I'm just there to have a good time and watch the game. Perhaps the emphasis would be the fact that I'm Arsenal and you're United, and I'm gonna have a banter about how you guys have lost your manager and how we're going to beat you for seasons and seasons to come because you guys are. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. I think the dream is to go beyond that.
I feel you, but end of the day.
Anyway, we'll park that.
The damage has been caused.
Okay.
So,
Rachel Reeves, first female chancellor of the Exchequer, power to you. All right.
Cool.
So let's get to the budget.
What damage has she shown?
Right. So, in case you're living in Iraq, I know you've heard me say that time and time again. The Labour have clinched to power after 14 years, and they time and time again they say that they're going to clean up the mess of the last Tory regimes. And in fact, Rachel Reeves was making a joke. You should watch it about how there were so many chancellors and prime ministers being hired and fired time and time again, and how much of a mess the Tories were. And I think across the aisle, the political wing, whether you're far left or to the right, and even the far right, people will all agree, conservatives, you guys are a mess. You guys need to take a break and let Labour take over the reins and see what they can do. So in fact, a lot of the policy statements that were made were just a confirmation of promises that they pledged during their manifesto. So, for example, they said they're going to be number one, they are the party of working people, right? So they have been using this phrase a lot. But then recently, they have been asked what they mean by working people, and they haven't been able to answer that question. But what in a sense they're trying to say is we are the party for the working man, right? We're not working as opposed to the party of the big business, the CEOs. Like we want to help the businessman like Roger or myself, who I don't know, who's maybe got let's say a small business, shall we say, being a mechanic, the small business person, the working man. So these are the people who I am for, and so my I'm trying to streamline the budget in such a way that favors the many as opposed to the greater few. And I think the policies do reflect that, in honesty. For example, they said that there will be no increase in income tax and NI increase in the manifesto. And Rachel Reeve said, what we said in the campaign is exactly what we're going to do, no increase. However, for the big businesses like yourselves in future, there will be there will be an increase in employers' employment insurance. So again, she's showing who she is for. We want to help the people down there, which means I think there was a phrase they used in the election campaign: the people with the broadest shoulders should weigh the heavier burden, which means that in line with that logic is that if you have more, then you should contribute more. But the wealth creators will say, you will be pinching so much out of me that it might not incentivize me to stay in this country to be the wealth creator that would benefit your society. I mean, I'm the neutral guy here. I'm the wealth creator, for example. I want to be in an environment where I can do my business, number one, and also number two, have the ability to employ people without having to deal with this red tape of having to, pay taxes here and there. A lot of wealth creators are saying, you are really holding my neck so much so that I can't do business. And since I have a lot of money, I'll just get my private jet, or I'll get on my plane and go somewhere where the tax system is more favorable. But the people on the left are saying, no. Listen, if you have a lot, then you should give a little bit more than the one who has little. All right, but then in that line they said inheritance tax for those who have more than £1 million in assets, that there will be an inheritance tax of about 25%. If you have a private jet, for example, there'll be an increase there'll be an increase of 50%, I believe, in the fuel, for example, the fuel duty. If you're using a private jet, again, what they're saying is if you have more, you should share the broadest burdens. But here's a dilemma, Roger. Here's a dilemma, and I'll pass on to you. Another budget policy that they mentioned that is in line with this is they did say in the manifesto, and it's going to come about, that if you are, for example, taking your school, if you have a child in a private school, if you're taking a child to a private school, that they're going to add a VAT. And that that money will then be spent on public schools. So it's a bit like a Robin Hood kind of thing, where you steal from the rich and give to the poor. That's one way to make a caricature of what they're trying to do. But I guess the Labour, them being left wing, they're about fairness, and fairness means if you go a bigger share of the cake, then you go cough up a little bit more, right? But then it's a hard thing to do, because you don't want to de-incentivize wealth creation on one hand, but at the other hand, you do not want to feel like the people who are, struggling and trying to get on the ladder, so to speak, or, the working people are feeling a heavy inch. And so no matter who's in power, no matter who's Chancellor of the Exchequer, whether Conservative or Labour or Liberal Democrat, but I don't think that will ever happen, that is that is basically the what you need to kind of balance in the books, like incentivizing wealth creation, whereas also creating a system that is fair for everybody else. Now, a thing to say about the right wing, what they have done for this for in the past. If Ronald Reagan was known for this, my dad and I have heard this phrased as trickle down economics, where you deregulate and don't give too much tax to the people at the top to incentivize them to create more wealth, and then that wealth will kind of trickle down. But some will argue that sometimes that's not the case when you do that, because rather than investing in the society, they will just put it more into their pockets. And so, Reagan, some love, some hate him. He's actually one guy. He's one guy, Reagan and Thatcher. It's like they say about I really like or I really hate because of their convictions. And so
talk about the ghettos about Reagan.
So, but now we're talking about the here now. I think the here now is like Rachel Reeves, I'm here for the people, and so the people with the broadest shoulders, you guys have the heavier burden in terms of taxation. Put more money in the government purses so that we can be able to finance our public services, especially the darling of all public services being the NHS. So Roger, you're businessman, commentator, entrepreneur. What are your initial thoughts about what we've heard about from the Chancellor, Miss Rachel Reeves?
Yeah. I've got some of the summary of what's happened out here. As I said, it says new. I think alcohol and tax has gone up. That's always the first one I look at anyway. And
is it because you drink a little bit, do you?
Nah, mate. Honestly, you need to stop doing it. I don't understand when people smoke and drink and then they're sick as well. Anyway, I was looking at the minimum wage as well. It's going up by pennies, and
again, the party of the working people, helping the people who are down there rather than the people up there. That's the kind of the sentiment you would expect from a left-wing government such as the Labour Party.
It's saying that 18 to 20 is going from £8.60 to £10. That will incentivize people away maybe from further education. When you're getting paid £10 now instead of £8.60, that makes a big difference. So maybe that be a negative or positive thing for the community, because if people just go and want to get a quick job, £10 an hour, let's go. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but at the same time, I mean, with all these student loans going up, I mean, uni, you go be careful, bro, because you go cough up, you go pay all back, you know. That, I mean, you might be spending all the money and having fun in uni, but you're going to pay all back after. So you go ask yourself, is it worth it? A lot of people have been better off just, hey, I'm just going to
work.
Using other alternatives that are not as costly, and they're doing far well, and they don't have to worry about this loan they go pay back. So
no, 100%. And I think that, you know, when it comes to business, and I think people just realize.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Business.
Let's talk about that
because business,
as the wealth creators will say, you don't want to stifle my business and my way of making wealth, because I could just up and leave, and if they leave, then who's gonna get the pinch of the tax?
They're not gonna up and leave, mate. They're not gonna.
A lot have.
Yeah.
You know, I've heard that a lot of millionaires are leaving the UK more than ever this year.
Listen, millionaires have been putting the tax thing, bobs, in Virgin Islands and getting free in tax-free lifestyles. Anyway, you know, they go to Antigua, they got houses over there.
They said that they're going to remove the non-dom status as well. They did say that in the budget, that non-dom. So people, individuals like Rishi Sunak, who, you know, has other business enterprises elsewhere. Sorry, you're not getting taxed.
So for me, it's like the rich have always avoided tax, and I think that there's a selfish bunch of people. You know what I mean? To be honest, in one sense. So for example, now, I remember when at one stage they caught Rooney out, but that's Rooney about you know the money, because he's on a good money in it. So they go to professional accountants and they said, listen, you say it this way, you don't have to pay. You know what I mean? The full tax amount they should do, and I think they just got the money up for to be able to do that. When it comes to businesses, I think that, you know, where they can, businesses need to contribute to the community. I think they've literally, I'm not saying they got away with it, they do pay for it. I don't want to come like no professional who knows this. As an entrepreneur, that doesn't affect me, because as small entrepreneurship companies, these sort of things don't really affect me. But you'll find out that we're the ones who paid, and the bigger businesses find a way around it. You know what I mean? It's like Starbucks, when they were saying that they've avoided paying so much tax, as much as they pay a lot of employment tax, because obviously they're indirectly through their franchises. But the organisations actually corporate tax. Obviously, having an office outside the UK has made them avoid certain payments.
Let's be honest.
Not shouting out, not destroying Starbucks.
If God willing, Roger. I mean, if God
I become a billionaire or millionaire, and guys,
would you not be tempted to, you know, have an kind of sit down and see your way around it as well? I mean, it's very rare. In fact, it's very rare for a very big businessman to say, these taxes I will pay because I see the benefit of it, and I see it as fair.
The fine way. I think the fine way as well. And then also,
would you do the same if you are of that?
If I could find a better way of or lowering my taxes, it's all encompasses with what you do with the extra money. I wouldn't buy a yacht. I will invest it in community projects which I directly see impacting my community. So, for example, instead of paying, if I got 10k over, just say 10k or 100k or $500,000 over, and they say, okay, right, like you got a pool of money here, you can taxable. Well, what do you want to invest into, or what community projects you want to sow into? I look into community projects that I can actually create a fund where I can then people apply from a certain community and go through that way, rather than giving money to the major core government who will disseminate that unlikely to the communities that need that support.
But the ideological. Yeah. I'll just put in my ideologies hat on.
Yeah.
If I want to, so say I'm a wealth creator, you want to do that, invest in your community, but you shouldn't infringe on my freedom. If I just wanted to buy a yacht, if I earn this money, I worked hard for it, I want to buy 10 yachts, what's that to you? I have the freedom to do so. Free will. I am a free man. Who's to say that if you want to invest, who is it? Just because you give more to your community doesn't mean that I am obligated. It's my money. I think as a wealth creator, but it's not. I'm not a billionaire. Number one, and number two, I don't have much wealth to silver or gold of none. Like this, like the opposite.
Yeah, man.
But I'm just speaking like doctor's advocate. If I wanted to buy a yacht, what's that to you? Why would you infringe on my freedoms to do so? I have a right to enjoy my wealth and live the life as I do. Why not? Why not? It's my money.
No, it's 100% your money. But the thing is, what about the health of your workers? I think there's Abraham Maslow, and a lot of business, what can I call it? A business theorist, the people that look into how to improve business. They've been through the cotton mills, and not only take slavery out of it. We're talking about the UK Industrial Revolution. They saw what happens to the abuse. That's why you got people like Henry Ford, who actually invested into the health of these workers. I'm not saying these workers were rich, and he was a very rich guy. Henry Ford. But what he saw the importance of a certain moralistic approach of his workers in terms of their home life. So he actually invested into. I'm not saying he was perfect in terms of what he's done, but when I was watching a documentary about Henry Ford, he type of people that he will get working. They had to be family guys, had to be do this, they do that. So he had a vested interest, knowing that I need you performing. If there's problems at home and your children don't have. You're sick, it affects your performance at work. So I need to make sure the health system for your children and for your families are sorted out. That's why so as a true entrepreneur that has a wider aspects of life, who has knowledge and wants to get the best, maximize his workers. That's his approach. So I hear what you're saying. So
what you would argue is one would argue is because businesses would not see it the way as you have rightly stated, that taxes are somewhat necessary because not everyone will be as charitable or see things the way that you do.
Yeah.
But then on the other hand, some people will say, but it sounds like a businessman would say, you sound like you're just stealing from me in order to help the poor.
But at the end of the day, still, without the poor buying your products, it depends on the mindset of the rich. The rich are just, I don't want to assume that rich.
And let's be honest, there are a lot of people who become entrepreneurs legitimately by working hard and building a business that is beneficial to himself and all the people who are involved. Yeah,
they got sense. It's usually the children that get messy.
Maybe it's the big corporates that need.
Yeah, it's usually second, third generation. You find out the children go wild and they lose the plot and they lose the essence of. You see it in churches where the pastor's like a great guy, but his children that take over the church are just not. We don't have his heart.
My hot take is that they shouldn't take over. Sorry.
What's that?
Pastor's kid, it's not hereditary.
You know what I'm saying?
It's not hereditary.
But
that's another topic.
But when you inherit wealth, you don't know how much it costs to get there. So what you find is sometimes the original owners.
The factor there is parenting, right?
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So ultimately, when it comes to things, yes, you're right. In terms of big corporates, that is just basically shareholders just want money, whatever. Yes, they're gonna have a negative response. But end of the day, this is a massive market, and you have to be in it to win it. Yeah. So I hear what you're saying, but in companies want to threaten, but they can threaten all they want. You know what I'm saying? It comes a point where that old fearful, that conservative ideology of going, if you raise on there, they will leave the place and they're scared. But sorry, we're all here buying products. So we're going these products. So end of the day, still, we're gonna buy your products, buy your food, buy you this, buy you that. You've got about 50, we're gonna buy from Asda, we're gonna buy from all these different shops out there. We're going to buy from you. know what I'm saying? And then for me, also, again, if you want your workers to be in a good environment, you give your money to government, look after the city, because that city is going to provide me 1,000 workforce for my factory. I need to make sure their bins are sorted out. I need to make sure that's sorted out. I need to make sure they're healthy, make sure if they've got a good doctor system. We don't do private health here. It's almost like a private health.
And I think when the government speaks to key leaders of the private sector, they have to argue that their policies not only benefit those who are taken care of, but the businesses as well. Like you said, if we have a national health service that is working, that is properly funded, that means that there are more healthy people, which means that there are more healthy people who you can employ, which means, so I think it's about not. Here's the thing. This is what I would argue. I think a good government should not try and have this us and them approach. As I would argue, Rachel Reeves is about working people against those who are not working people, but rather create it in such a way of it's a government for everyone, that if you're down, we will pick you up, the welfare state. And if you are up, we will create an environment in which, yes, you're paying your fair share, but not to the point of disincentivizing you doing business here, because you doing well means that your employees who are underneath you are doing well, and that's the whole society works together. I think let me say this: the Labour are attacking the politics of greed. Don't let not those who are up get away with anything. Power corrupts, and the love of money corrupts. We know that in the Bible. So on one hand, the conservatives say no. The people on the left will say we need to curb greed, and all these tax measures are a means to do that. And also, I think the idea that you should, if you're stronger than me, you should carry a bigger burden. Granted, but then those on the right would say that the left are maybe, Winston Churchill described, I know, a controversial figure, but let's not go there. But Winston Churchill said that socialism is a politics of envy. That, I am down here, you're up there, I envy you, and so you know what I mean? Yeah. So how do we? So the $1 million question is, how do we streamline a system in which it doesn't foster an environment for more greed? Neither does it create an environment equally of more envy. That, because for me, as an individual, I'm not going to be envious of everyone who's doing better than me, because you never know how many hours, how many years, and how many blood, sweat, and tears they did to get there. And so I think on a spiritual level, I think those are two scenes at play there. And I think politicians, just opening our eyes, we need to be wary of how, politicians pose themselves. Because if you're saying you're the politics of big business, then or big politics of entrepreneurs, then you need to prove that you're also gonna curb greed and people getting away with not paying their share into the government purse. But also, if on the other side, it's not us against them. I think we gotta create a system in which if one person does well, we all do well. I think this us against them just doesn't really work. And I think this is what I think is the bottom line of ideologies, is that we don't come together. We pick a side and then we make the enemy out the other side, rather than trying to find common ground. And I think it's reflected in the budget here. We've seen it in the US elections. We've seen it with what Kemi just said. Look out for what we said on YouTube. How can we create this one nation, no matter where you are on the sphere of economics or culture? There is that sort of, we are all working in unison towards a goal of just, flourishing together, across our society. And I think that's $1 million question.
Well, I think politics is always like a pendulum. In terms of it goes like this. It goes like, because I feel like sometimes powers go too far right, and then it comes back over because community. And I think that when it goes too far, which that's why when it was under the royalistic system, where basically it goes too far, and then it creates revolution. So it'll be almost always ticking over like that. So there's gonna be always a season in my life where it was conservative. When I was younger, I remember conservative. Then we went into Labour, then back into conservative, or back to Labour.
I think for a party to stay in power, I think
it'll be hard.
I think that's what Blair tried to do, because, like I said, I don't know where I explained it before, but maybe we'll finish with this. Remember, there was this Cold War. And people could argue it's still going between the left and the right.
Yeah, left and
communism
right,
is and Blair and Clinton were trying to create a third way in which, they called, that's what New Labour is, trying to create a third way where we're not far left, where we don't have a free market. Yes, we have a free market, but we also have the safety nets to help the less well off, so that everyone, so it's not like a politics for one or the other, but a politics for everyone. but then I think now we've gone beyond that, and now we've gone back to the us against them mentality. And of course, I think Blair would have been known for that third way kind of thinking, not far left, not far right. But I think what overshadowed that, and we're not getting to that, is of course, him getting into bed with George Bush politically speaking, and the Iraq War. I think the Iraq War overshadowed Blair's legacy, unfortunately.
Yeah, cool. Yeah.
But yeah, guys, I think that's it, really. The government, a lot of taxes up for the people higher up. The taxes for the working people, even little to no change. But I think the big question is, how can we create a society in which we feel all sides or all teams, whether you're on the top or the bottom team, benefit, rather than picking a side and us versus them politics, I think. What do you think?
Yeah, it's a time of the people at the moment. Yeah, so that's why it's a people budget. Yeah, I think the companies that had their time, their backhanders over COVID, their Brexit backhanders as well.
Bro, you mentioned COVID.
You know what I'm saying?
Rachel Reeves actually mentioned in the budget that she will she's going to allocate a budget in which they will investigate those who took advantage, the businesses who made a lot of money out of the COVID pandemic and did nothing. She says she's going to investigate them. So
yeah. There was a lot of and this is why when people go on about our cousins in Africa and the poor leadership in terms of in locally and in governmental wise, and I actually think that corruption isn't in the UK system. There's 100% corruption, but they just do it with a cup of tea and a smile. I think they at least put the 2 lights up instead of not putting no lights up at all. You know what I mean, for the price. So there is, and that's why it frustrates me to go like this country hasn't do corruption. I'm not saying it's a corrupt country. I'm just saying there's corruption everywhere. When there's £100 million going to a company, you need an incentive. So the incentive is your Bonzo account gets fat. You know what I mean? We always laugh about it with football. You know what I'm saying? With referees. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Incentive.
Watch out. Van Mourinho. Roger Van Mourinho's coming up. But guys, put it in the comments. What do you think about the budget? Yeah. Is it good for you? Is it bad for you? Let us know, please. Let us know. Tell us in the comments.
It's good for the
people. If you've heard Rachel Reeves' budget, how are you feeling? Yeah. Do you feel good? Do you feel bad? Tell us. Speak to us. Affinity Xtra on YouTube. Put a comment. Tell us. Speak to us.
One little question before I go. Yeah, would it be wrong for our station to say we are affiliate ourselves to a party?
Well.
So is that just open up a can of worms?
Okay, no, let's do it. Let's do it. Yeah. I think what I explained to you
with the people. So with socialism.
What I explained to you in the because I think it makes it toxic. Because it does. When I open the news, I know, for example, that one channel supports one political party blatantly and one the other. As I explained to the on the interview about Kemi and what she said about Chris Kaba, media, the journalists and the media was supposed to be the proverbial, because so the government is made up of 3 arms: the executive, that's the government in power; the legislature, that's the parliament; and the judiciary. The journalism was known as the proverbial 4th member, which was taking the executive to account. But what has happened now is that these media outlets, particularly quite blatantly in America and Australia, where you will see the obvious bias of who they support. But that's not what always was the case. So the problem is that you cannot go to a news outlet and get the accurate news. It will be slanted according to a particular perspective, which is why this show is important, to open your eyes to see that there's an ideological bias to it. There's an ideological thing at play. Back in the day, news would be, this is what happened. It's up to you to decipher how you feel about it. But now they're telling you how to feel about it. If you watch GB News, we already know who you support. If you watch, say, Politics Joe.
LBC.
LBC have a mix of everyone.
Yeah.
Politics Joe, left wing. Politics Joe in Novara Media, big up you lot. But you guys, if I know you're watching that, you're a proper lefty. If you're watching GB News, if you're reading the Telegraph, you're probably on the right. If you're reading the Guardian, you're left. If you're reading the Telegraph, you're a proper right wing. If you're reading the Mirror, oh boy, you love the Labour Party. If you read the Sun, you love the Tories and that particular page, but we will talk about that page. That page 2 or page 3. I don't know.
Independence Party, come back us, mate. You know?
But look. Also, I think the news does a disservice to our society because it plays into that us and them mentality that we're a conservative media outlet, which means that those guys, it's us against them. So rather than seeing them as it adds fuel to the fire. And my job is to help us understand each other, no matter what perspectives are. Let me be honest with you. Let me be honest with you. I'll be honest. I'll pull off my I'm not gonna take my hair off because my hair needs a trim. But there's some things I strongly disagree with Roger. But he's my brother and I love him. But we have come to a position in us, and I really believe this is why I believe in ideologies. We've come to a position where people who disagree dislike each other. And it's because of how, number one, politics, and number two, media have played to this us against them. And you even see it here in the budget. No matter whose side you're on, you're not asking how is this going to benefit all of us, but how it's going to fit my law. My law could be the working class, or my law could be the people who are higher up. But the question is, how can we come together and, despite the differences, kind of come to a consensus? And it's boring, isn't it? If we all agree together, but at the same time, we don't want drama, do we? But that's what it's all about.
I'll stop the fire, guys. I'll stop the fire. But listen. We're gonna close off the show, man. What
do you think of the budget? Put your comment down there. Comment down there. What do you think about the budget? Let's talk to us, and also DM us on YouTube and everything. Keep on watching Ideologees, Sorry.
Yeah, man, big up, man. And word up for the petrol cap. Yeah, know what I mean?
Thank you for watching the content we're putting out. Listen, make sure that you are liking, subscribing and following us on all our social channels, including patreon.com. Make sure you're finding us on there to support what we do so we can support you. And remember, guys, be extra.